Dave. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm good. So you went on spring break last week. Did you go to Florida?
Yes, we went
How
to
was
Cocoa
that?
Beach. A long drive, but after we got through Atlanta, it was great.
Awesome. That's good to get a break from work and have some fun.
Lots of fun in the sun, and I got to play golf, which is really fun for me.
Perfect. So thank you for filling out your wellness wheel, by the way.
You bet.
So I'm looking at it and I see from your health side, you marked it a little lower than maybe some of the others on the wellness wheel. Why is that?
Well, spring break was a little rough. We ate out a lot, and of course there were treats and things like that that I wouldn't normally be part of my diet. So I probably need to do a little bit better.
Well, I mean, I understand that when we're on vacation, it can be very tempting to go a little crazy with the foods. So, what would you say was the biggest challenge for you while on vacation with your food intake?
Well, like I said, when you're away from home, you really don't know what you're ordering all the time, and of course, French fries are a weakness for me, and I'm sure that that's probably not a good thing from the standpoint of sodium intake. So I had a lot of French fries, but some of it was good too because we were in Florida, so there was a lot of seafood, and I do try to have a little bit more seafood in my diet. So, but mostly it was just being away from home and outside of routine and eating out a lot and not knowing exactly what I was getting in my food.
Well, it's great you got some seafood. You try to keep that up. So you mentioned sodium. Is there a reason that you're trying to cut back on sodium?
Yeah, my doctor, I've recently had some kidney stones, and it's a repeat. So I had kidney stones a few years ago, and I just had them again. And so my doctor has me meeting with a nephrologist who is telling me that the more sodium intake that I have, the more the calcium builds up in the urine and creates kidney stones. So he is recommending a low sodium diet, which I know is not going to be fun.
So it sounds like, so how did that make you feel? It doesn't sound like great.
Probably that my food won't taste as good anymore, and it'll be obviously a challenge. But I honestly don't want to have any more kidney stones either. So.
Okay, so it sounds like sodium is something you have a lot in your diet, and you're kind of worried about stopping it, but you also don't want the health problems that come with it. So you're kind of on the fence about how this is going to go.
Yes, I like salty food, and of course, after having a conversation with the doctor, I didn't even realize how much salt I was eating.
Okay, so what kinds of food would you consider to have salt or sodium in them that you're eating?
Well, I don't really eat much breakfast, so at lunch I almost always have a sandwich with some sort of lunch meat on it. Okay. I like to eat, chips are just easy to pack, so I pack a bag of chips, sometimes an apple, carrots, or something like that with it, but it's pretty typical to have, as I understand, lunch meat apparently has a lot more sodium than I was aware. And also chips, of course, are pretty salty as well. So, and as I said before, I love when I go out to eat, I love to have French fries. They're probably one of my favorite foods. And pepperoni pizza is like one of my favorites as well. So, and I know pepperoni, it sounds like, is pretty also salty. So, yeah, those are some of the ones I like to eat that are pretty salty.
Okay, so you told me some of the things in your diet that you feel you may need to cut out, but you really like them. So how motivated are you to start making some changes for your diet to get you maybe on a better track with the sodium intake?
Well, the kidney stones are no fun, so obviously that's a high level of motivation. If it's just a matter of cutting out some salt and or store salty foods, and I can prevent that in the future. As long as I can do that with some alternatives that aren't horrible, I think I'm pretty motivated to do it.
Okay, awesome. That's great to hear that you have some motivation for change. I'm not here to take away every good food. Sometimes people mistake us for that. So if you don't mind, I have a few options, some ways that you could cut out sodium if you'd like me to share those with you.
That'd be great.
Well, a good way to start out is a lot of us like to shake salt on our food, and we don't realize...
Especially when I'm cooking.
Yes, and for some flavor, we don't realize how much salt is actually in all of this food. So if you can maybe try cutting that out, that's an option, but it doesn't mean you can't have flavor in your food. There's a lot of salt substitutes. There's a package called Mrs. Dash, and this has no sodium in it. There's also any kind of spices. Those don't have any sodium, as long as you're not getting like the garlic salt. But if you just have garlic.
I love spicy foods, and
Good.
garlic especially. It's
Good.
better with salt, but it's good.
Okay, so it's good to hear you like some of these. There's also, I was thinking with your lunches, meal prepping ahead of time, so that, because I know with the busyness of the day, it can be tough, you just grab those quick convenience foods, and often those are the ones with the most sodium. So maybe just prepping your meals ahead of time. Do any of these sound like something you could try or would like to work on this week?
As long as I can do something in advance, like on a Sunday afternoon, and I can do several days at a time or something like that, I think it could work well.
Okay, so do you want to talk a little bit about meal prepping then?
Sure.
I think this could be a good option for you. It sounds like with your what you're saying about packing ahead. So you mentioned Sunday. Would this be a good day? Is this a time that you would be available to do any meal prepping?
Sometimes during the football game, it's fun to just have the TV on, or when there's golf on or something like that, and make some things ahead of time, and also or to cook some things that will help for the week, like throw some chicken in the oven, which I know I've been told I can use that on a salad or on a sandwich instead of lunch meat.
Cutting down on the process, that's great. Yeah, so it sounds like during football time, you're getting some entertainment. You're able to pack ahead, get some things done when you have a little more time on your hands. So you mentioned chicken and salads. Is there any other foods you'd be interested in maybe substituting for some of those higher sodium foods, like the meat or chips?
I love having a salad or a sandwich at lunchtime. So if I can replace the lunch meat, I like cheese, and I also I love to have a turkey, real turkey. Sometimes making a whole turkey, but it can last a while too if we take it all off the bone and put it in the fridge or even freezer. So I think that works, and I also like a salad, although I know sometimes salad dressing is another weakness because there can be a lot of salt in it. So I like a salad or a sandwich, especially at lunchtime.
Okay, yeah, and as far as the salad dressing, is there anything else? We don't need to see it as a weakness, because we can always find other ways to still flavor up our salad without using those really high sodium filled dressings. But is there anything else that you've ever tried for that?
Well, I often have an apple, just kind of core it ahead of time and pack that, and I like that. It's easy. And also carrots seem to be a really easy thing to throw into your lunch.
That's great. It sounds like you already have some really healthy options that you are trying, which is really awesome, and will set you on the right track. Just getting a few of those other sodium foods cut down a little bit. And then as far as meal prepping, would you prep for the whole week, or are you interested in prepping for a few days? What would fit best in your schedule?
I can usually prep for most of a week because I'll have maybe 3 lunches in the office and 2 where I'm meeting with someone, or I have to eat, out or at a meeting, and so I can usually do 3 at a time and have enough for the week.
Okay, cool. So are you the one doing your grocery shopping?
No, I don't do the grocery shopping. My wife generally does the grocery shopping.
Okay, do you think this is something you could share with her and kind of get her on the same track so that she can help you?
Yeah, that's no problem. My wife wants me to live longer than she does, than she will, so she's always looking for ways to make me healthier.
Okay, so yeah, getting her informed on just ways to look for reducing sodium it's great that you feel like you guys are really on the same page with that.
She's very helpful.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, so overall today we discussed cutting down on your sodium intake due to some kidney things with your doctor. We discussed different ways in which you could do this by cutting out the salt shaker, adding spices, doing a little meal prepping at the beginning of the week. So where is your motivation after we've talked about this for what you think you can do in these upcoming weeks on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, it doesn't sound as hard as I thought it might be. I think by doing some things ahead of time, I can do that pretty easily. So probably 8.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, that's a pretty good number. Do you have anything else you want to discuss, or do you want to just focus on this, and then next week we could come back and see how the meal prepping went, how this different substitutes for those chips and meats went, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I like sweets sometimes, but I don't think it's usually chocolate. I don't think chocolate is really high in sodium.
Not usually, yeah. So so we wouldn't say chocolate is a bad food at all. You can have those sweets, but I mean, if that's something you want to work on for the future, obviously we want to have everything in moderation. So I think
usually if there's something I can't have, I like to add something I really like so that I can.
Yeah, so adding a little bit of chocolate to your lunches is great. If you have a certain time of day where you crave it, just that little bit can go a long way for our cravings. I think maybe sometimes focusing in is the sodium thing, something you want to focus on first over the sweets, or what's your preference with?
Well, I have to do the sodium, but I think a little chocolate might help me compensate for the things I can't have with salt.
Yes, I think that's could definitely work. How about you let me know how that goes with the sodium, and we'll kind of come back and review the sweet side for next time as well. Does that sound like a good
Sounds
plan?
Great. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, it was so great meeting with you today.
Great meeting you too, Rebecca.
You have a great day.
Thank you.